Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, living beneficiaries. This is the estate from the House of Hidalgo. I am Eugene Richard of the House of Hidalgo, otherwise known as Rick. I welcome you again to another show. Tonight is a little bit of an open type forum. I wish I had thought about bringing up some party theme music or something, because I want to celebrate a little bit. This is my first hour call. We're out of the minor leagues and into the majors here. I should have thought about that, but I didn't, so I'll just applaud. Yeah. So tonight I do have a special guest with me. He's kind of going to serve more as a co-host tonight, because I like to have that opportunity to converse a little bit, that little free thinking going on both ways. But my guest is Stephen Roberts, and Stephen Roberts is a radio show host himself. He's got a video streaming type of show that he does, and I'm going to let him kind of introduce himself. And Stephen, are you with us?
Hi, thank you, Rick. Thanks for letting me come on.
Very excited. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, Stephen.
Well, as you mentioned, I have both a live stream, livestream.com, live streaming internet TV show, which I am currently taking a little hiatus from. I am kind of switching networks. I'm going to be doing some local broadcasting on the live stream. People can catch me there at livestream.com/superbigbadman, all one word, Super Big Bad Man. That's my live stream, and I am going to be coming on pretty soon. I'll be a broadcaster on MSI Radio, Media Streaming International, out of, I guess they're out of Ireland.
Wow. Little Irish.
Yes. I'm probably going to be the butt of many jokes over there in Ireland on my first broadcast.
Well, how tall are you?
They're going to hear the yank. I'm nearly 6 foot, between a little bit over.
Yeah, so we won't be hearing any leprechaun jokes.
Hopefully not. No, they're probably gonna have a ball with my first broadcast, because I'm going to be new to internet radio. I've been just doing internet TV, and that is quite a bit of difference between the internet TV and the internet radio, as I'm finding out.
Yeah, I'm not greatly experienced with internet radio, but I have done a couple shows, and I kind of understand it. So when you invited me on your show the other night, and I had to experience that being seen on a video screen thing, I knew I couldn't do my show in rags. I had to dress up nice and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is a little bit different. I was a little self-conscious, actually. I kept seeing myself and thinking, I wonder what these people are thinking.
Yeah, I can see your apprehension and your nervousness, but I should have told you earlier not to worry about it. It's just like a Skype conversation, even though it is video.
Right. Well, it was. I really enjoyed being on your show. It was I thought it was exciting, a lot of good interaction there. Um, Obviously, you and I are very like-minded, so that was always cool to meet somebody, a brother in the struggle, if you might.
Yes, absolutely. Where would you like to start tonight?
Okay, well, Stephen, I'm going to start tonight talking about an article that I saw pop up in the BBC News Europe. It was about a little more than a week ago. It popped up, and it really kind of just flew by me, and I wasn't sure what it meant. But having thought about it and done some creative thinking on this, I think that this is really a sign of the times here. I found this article called Pope Francis hits out at global cult of money. Now, the article begins by talking about how Pope Francis has called on world leaders to end the cult of money and to do more for the poor in his first major speech on the financial crisis. Now, let me just interject my take on that. We all know for a very long time the powers that be here in America and really across the world, the bankers, let's just name them for what they are, the fat cats, they've gotten together and been discussing some changes to the global economy anyway. We do already, we're very aware of the fact that there's a lot of currency movement going on, that there is a new currency that's already in development. Some people are reporting that it's already there, just waiting for that precise moment when whatever happens, and we can, and the transition happens. In this case, here's the Pope pointing his big, long pontiff finger at essentially this cult of money cartel, saying, hey, we need a change. Now, what I find interesting about that is, he's had how many years to bring this forth? This is nothing new. The Pope, every Pope has been aware of the fact that this fiat money system is fake and fraudulent and was destroying the world. Yet they picked such a time as this to come out and start pointing their fingers. I see that as a release of information, which is typically what the cabal, if you want to call them, like to do. They like to release information right before something major happens. I think we're going to start seeing more and more release. You got any take or idea on this, Stephen?
Well, I haven't seen this article that you're referring to, but yeah, the Pope is going to. I think the Pope and the Vatican, they are mainly the control system. Now there are a lot of people out there that think the Pope is controlled, and that very well could be. I mean, it could be just like he is a puppet also. He is told to do things, and he's told to say things like presidents and prime ministers, and that very well could be a good possibility. I haven't researched that kind of situation.
Right.
That's not really my forte.
Right. Well, I can tell you that for a very long time, people have been talking about the Jesuits priest and how they are kind of the enforcement for the dark side, if you will, the Black Pope. There's all these rumors and speculation and stuff going around about that. Of course, when we got this new Pope, the whole theological world went into a burst of, get ready, Jesus is coming, because this was supposed to be the last Pope. Now, what's interesting about all this is I'm a little bit privy to some of the other side of this, because I, being a member of another organization that I just won't name at this point, but being a member of another organization, I do understand that the Pope had some significant power when it came to having a trusteeship over all the property or lands of the earth based on war. They basically claimed it as part of a war. Now, we all know that the Pope didn't suit up a big army of people and go out and take over everybody's land. It was more of a religious type of takeover. But my understanding is that side of the Vatican, there's a private and a public side to all these establishments. The Vatican's private side that controls the money flow and that controls all that debt and banking has been, to my understanding, has been handed over to another individual who is now preparing, kind of with others who are in the same boat, if you will. They're putting together a new system to discharge, or you might say, in a biblical sense, declare a year of jubilee where all the people's debts will be forgiven. That's my understanding that something like that is on the way. I don't want to bring false hope to anybody, so I wouldn't hang on every word that I'm saying, but I would say this: it makes a lot of sense, because right after that is when we saw that Pope step down and this Pope come in, and the timing of it is just really sensational and very interesting. So keep your eye on this Pope deal. Let's find out where he goes from here. Let's see if he keeps driving this monetary system down to the ground. I think he even mentions in the article, he compares the cold money system to the golden calf.
Right.
Now, I wonder who he's speaking to there.
Golden calf. Well, again, you're getting into other areas where I have very, very little knowledge. Golden calf. Wow. I would have to think that would be some sort of person, some sort of high unknown ranking person, somebody high up in the Illuminati. But getting back on the other subject, you were referring to Pope Benedict was going to change he was going to forgive all debts. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. What I was saying was that the Vatican has two sides of business they conduct. They conduct a church side, which is the public side, and then they are the trustee, or one of the trustees of the global estate, or they were, I should say. By the reports that I've heard, that transition has happened, and they no longer control the global estate, but that has been handed off through what's considered the chair of Peter. That's something that all you listeners should go take a look at. Is Google the chair of Peter and see what the significance of the chair of Peter is.
Okay. Well, Rick, I do have some comments.
Sure.
The story you mentioned to me the other day about I won't get into it. You can get into it whether you want to or not. But I do know that the dark side, they create their own sensationalism, and they create their own conspiracies. Like there's always been a conspiracy out there that whether it's true or not, I am not privy to, but there's always been a conspiracy out there that there is an unknown group in America that will never allow the powers that be to totally destroy America. And
yep, I've heard that too.
Whether that is true or not, I am not totally privy to it, but it would also make sense that the powers that be would make this illusion up to try to keep people from, standing up and using their voices and saying no, if you will.
Right. No, I agree with you. See, the thing is it's also convoluted. It's precept upon precept upon precept, and if you take one of those precepts out of there, the whole thing just tumbles. Because none of it can stand alone. Once you start looking into the rabbit hole, it gets so deep that there's no coming out. Guys like you and I, we're in here for life.
Yes, absolutely. And there is also another conspiracy out there. Well, it's not. I guess it's a conspiracy. It's the Rothschild-funded conspiracy that the Pastor Initiative program, which you probably know of, correct?
Did you say pastor?
Pastor Initiative program, yes.
Where they've basically starting to use pastors and their pulpits to spew their propaganda?
Yes, absolutely. Their Romans 13 propaganda that the rapture is coming soon, and everybody can be saved because we're all going to be raptured. It doesn't matter because Jesus is coming back and he's going to save us all. That's their Rothschild conspiracy there.
Yeah, having gone through the whole Bible school deal, and if you go to Bible school, the first thing that you'll notice isn't the classes or the professors. It's the fact that students, in between classes, they congregate in the student center and they debate everything under the sun. And that happened all the time in Bible school. So I've heard every theory under the sun. There's a lot of Christians out there that have all kinds of belief systems. So even that in itself is convoluted. So what exactly do you stand on,
Yes. Yeah. It depends on what kind of conditioning you want to, what do you want to believe? How easily you are deceived.
Right, and then it really depends on how far you want to study the Scripture. If you're one of those people that like to study the Scripture at a shallow level and never get into the depth of it, you're probably going to misunderstand it. You're probably going to misquote it. And you're probably not going to know what what it really means. But if you're one that's real studious and you're working to show yourself approved, you're studying to show yourself approved, like the Scripture says, you're gonna be more likely to be in the center on truth and not be deceived by these things.
Yes, absolutely.
So, I appreciate that input, Stephen. That was great. As I promised on this broadcast, we were going to get into the Act of 1871. I want to kind of prelude this a little bit and let people know why we would even talk about this. I mean, this show is dedicated, obviously, to those of you who are living beneficiaries. You understand that your relationship to the state and to the government and so on and so forth. But before you can even argue any of those civil disobedience questions like Romans 13, they come up and they bash me all the time because they tell me that I'm a conspiracy theorist and that Romans chapter 1 through 8 is telling them, it's basically giving them giving the government a license to do whatever they want to the church, so on and so forth. I can tell you that once you go in and you study the Act of 1871 and you realize what that act did to this thing that you guys call a government, you're gonna start rethinking this, and you're gonna wonder how it is that you were so duped or deceived into thinking that this government I even hate to call it government. I got to come up with a different word. So that this perceived government is somehow in a position to sell you anything. Here we are on the fringe of this Obamacare explosion, right? That's supposed to happen sometime this year and in the years to come. It gets implemented more and more and more. And everybody's all up in arms about Obamacare, thinking that, oh man, this is terrible. Look at all the things that's going to happen through Obamacare. If you understand the Act of 1871, you understand that corporation that's acting as your government fraudulently, all they're doing is selling products. That's what corporations do. So, Steven, you got a take on that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I must explain. You really caught me off guard with the 1871 Act. My study has been in the media and the history of the media, but the 1871 Act, the way I understand it, the way I've been learning from people in this movement here, is we don't actually need any kind of a government to try to save us from Obamacare. We can nullify that ourselves with our own God-given power.
Right. The principle of the American government, or the American government experience, what we were trying to get done through the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence, all those documents that founded our country, was we were trying to become a self-governing people. This was never about a big government telling you what to do as the people. The Declaration of Independence makes it really clear that you are the governed, and the government only comes by way of your consent. So
yes, absolutely.
So it's very important for us to remember that it was never supposed to be a democracy. We were never supposed to have that. Our Republican form of government was based on self-governance. It was based on the fact that we were a moral people who were able to self-govern ourselves. I'm not too sure that we're that anymore in America. I think we have some issues. Yeah, I would agree. But anyhow, first thing I want to do is I want to make this really clear to everybody who's listening. Do not go on the internet and just type in the Organic Act of 1871. The reason why I say that is because what's going to happen is you're going to run into every conspiracy theorist on planet Earth who's taken the words of that Organic Act and manipulated it to say what they want it to say. Okay? Don't do that. Here's what you do. Go to the Library of Congress online. That's loc.gov. Okay? They have a subdirectory. Sub meaning put in the word memory dot right before loc.gov. So it'd be memory.loc.gov. And that's going to bring up a collection of documents, and one of those things in that collection, I got it right here in front of me, is called A Century of Lawmaking for a New Nation. You can actually go in and see the journals of the Continental Congress and all the way up to today. Basically, all their journals are all there. There are a few pages missing, which is really conspicuous and conspiracy theorist, but it's mostly all there. This particular act is in the Acts of the 41st Congress, Section 34, Session 3. And if you go to the chapters 61 and 62, you'll see the act for yourself. Now, I want to ask a philosophical question here for everyone to think about for a minute. You already have a country that's functioning with a Republican form of government. You just come out of the Civil War, probably one of the most devastating wars to ever be fought in this entire planet. Brother against brother. Your Congress, which is a de jure Congress at this time, decides we need to make a new government inside of Washington, D.C., am I the only one asking myself, why? Why in the world would we need a government inside of Washington, D.C.? We already have a government, the government that we established through the Constitution, through the statutes that came on after it, all the way up to the point of 1871. So the first question is why? Why would you need it? Okay, well, someone once came to me and said, Rick, I think the reason why they did that was because corporations function more smoothly. That's kind of why churches incorporate, right? Some people, they say, yeah, you incorporate a church because there's more order and rules associated with a corporation. Okay, well, let's take that argument for a second to the next level. If that's the case, what right then does that corporation, or that de jure Congress have in taking your organic Constitution, not theirs, the Constitution belongs to the people, your organic Constitution, and embedding it in the Act of 1871? What state in the entire Republic embedded the Constitution, the organic Constitution, into their state charter? Zero. None of them. They all have a semblance of that Constitution, but they did not embed the organic Constitution in there. Why? Because by doing so, they hijacked your Constitution, and your Constitution really has meant nothing since. That is a fact. You think about it, you look at it, and you go and read that act for yourself, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They embedded the entire Constitution with its amendments into that act. And by doing so, they hijacked your Constitution, the one that you think today protects you. So I ask this question. Why would a de jure government that's operating like it's supposed to move into this kind of government? Why would they do this? Well, the bottom line is it was all about money. What are corporations about? Corporations are about money. They make money. It became a system of commerce. And from there, they chartered the United Nations. They chartered other countries' governments. They chartered everything in this entire world. Just about everything in this world has been chartered through that United States corporation. So that is the moment in time. If you're going to freeze a time and say, if I had a time machine, I'd go back and change something, I'd go back to 1871 and I'd find out what is going on in these knuckleheads' heads, thinking that they're going to hijack my Constitution and move into the system of commerce. Do you have any thoughts, Stephen?
Well, yeah, I originally want to go back to a thought you had earlier about the hijacking of it. As I remember, from my history, the president and the Congress and the representatives, they are all just supposed to be figureheads. As you stated, we the people are the government. They haven't been doing our bidding for many years, probably well over 100 years, or if not close to 100 years. But I remember in a couple of history classes that if the people found out what a congressman or a senator was doing, they would actually march over to their office and drag him out and do whatever they had to do to that congressman or senator to get him to do what the people wanted him to do.
That's exactly right. There was a lot of lynch mobs back in that day. They'd take him out and hang him sometimes.
Yes, they would.
Which has always been my thought, Stephen, that if we ever got back into that republic that was originally constructed, I think my first investment would be in rope.
Well, You could always use the same one over and over again. They wouldn't complain. And even if they did complain, we were, you wouldn't have to listen to them anyways.
That's true. That's true. I've always said that as a joke because I thought, it was kind of a clever idea, because rope would be in demand all of a sudden, or maybe we'd use some hemp for rope instead.
There you go. Of course, they've already made that illegal, though, but I'm sure we could find a way around that.
Yeah. I like the way you said that. They have already made that illegal. And illegal, that's exactly, yes. Yeah. It's not unlawful. It's illegal.
Illegal, right.
Right.
Illegal and unlawful are definitely two different things.
Yes, they are. And people don't understand that either, Stephen.
No, they don't. I've actually got a question for you. How would you describe a republic?
Okay. Well, we have to, because of the way that the world is today, we have to compare it to something. So let's take that democracy for a second, which Benjamin Franklin said was two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner.
Yes.
Okay. And then he said two wolves and a sheep deciding what's for dinner. A republic is a well-armed lamb. Okay. Now, yeah. Now the concept that Ben was trying to get at us there was that lamb is self-governing and self-protective. That was what a republic is. A republic is a lamb living in a land of wolves that can protect itself and govern itself. The Constitution is the document that protects that lamb from the wolves. It's not supposed to protect the majority, and it's not supposed to protect one party or the other. It's supposed to protect each of us at an individual level, which is why there should never be as many laws as there are now. There's no way we need that many laws. Laws that are as specific as they are now benefit certain groups of people. We need laws that benefit the individual collectively. And that's what we had. I mean, did you realize, Stephen, that it used to be a custom when the United States Congress got together, they got together maybe once or twice a year?
Yes, they did. Yes, I do realize that. They were, like I said, they were only figureheads, as the president was. The president's job, originally, he was only supposed to be the greeter of other countries' dignitaries.
Yeah.
That was his job.
Yeah, that's the weakest.
And he would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, that's about it.
Yeah, he has the weakest job in the entire government. It's such an insignificant job, but we get thrown up at arms all the time about who our president is, like the president means anything whatsoever. He is absolutely, if anybody's a puppet or a figurehead, it's the president. I mean,
yes.
Your local sheriff outranks the president.
Yes, he actually does. I found that out last night from talking to somebody else. I actually had known that the sheriff was the ultimate power in the county. He took precedence over a judge or even a federal judge, but I did find out last night that he actually has more power than the president does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, think about this for a second. Our Constitution says that I think isn't in Article 4. I don't have it here in front of me. I apologize. But one of the things that our Constitution tells us is that we are promised, or what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, we're told that we are supposed to have a Republican form of government. Okay, that is in the Constitution. It says that the Republican form of government is the form of government that's supposed to work all the way from the top to the bottom. Now think about that for a second. Think about how that would change America altogether. Today, if you look at the counties, the most powerful person in your county outside of the sheriff is your county commissioner. And think about that for a second. What's a commissioner? It's just that's another corporate title. Once again, you can see how they've really just robbed the whole system. That Republican form of government is gone. It's totally gone. There is no semblance of it. You can't find it anywhere. We're totally been hijacked into a democracy.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm actually trying to work with a local sheriff, probably 2 counties over. I'm trying to get in touch with him, trying to get him for an interview, and I would like to get some material to give to him and, have him reinforce or learn upon what he already knows and maybe even reinforce it or teach him some things that he doesn't know about his own powers. If he knows them, I haven't been able to speak to him yet, but I think that's going to be a good interview if I can get a hold of him.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of work with the sheriffs here in South Dakota, and I can tell you they are difficult to get a hold of. They're pretty busy, and that's because the system that they're caught up in keeps them busy. They're very much caught up in the court system. They take their orders directly from the court, from the civil magistrates themselves, and they basically function. I hate to say it this way, but I've been studying this out very recently for another show coming up down the road. We're going to talk about piracy. I hate to say it, but that's exactly what they are. Is they've become pirates.
Are you talking about the sheriffs?
Yeah, I'm talking about the sheriff and their posses.
Okay.
They've become pirates, and the reason I say that is because they've taken letters of marque, and the Constitution is very specific about letters of marque. They've taken these letters of marque and reprisal from the judges or these magistrates, and those letters basically tell those officers what to do. Now that's called pirating. So when you're peacefully driving down your local road, singing the song on the radio, and someone comes up behind you with blue lights, they're practicing piracy. They pull you over, and if you don't abide by their conditions, what do? They arrest you. Well, that's a term that goes back to the shipping days when you would arrest a ship. So all of it is connected. I mean, we're seeing this, and this is for totally a different show. I'm not sure why I'm talking about it here, but we see where they've taken the maritime laws and brought them onto the land, and basically everything that we operate on here is considered part of that maritime law. So when you're going down a highway, that highway is like a jet stream. You're going down the jet stream, and when you disobey a civil code of some type, you're basically breaking pirate policy. So then they are given letters of marque and reprisal in order to punish you for breaking that pirate policy. And I hate to put it that way, but that is literally what it is.
Yes, it's understandable. You have to look at their terms, look at their words, and break them down to their distinctive ancient meanings. As you said, I've heard for many years that we have been under the maritime law, and I believe that goes back to the Greek times, does it not? The Greek and Roman times.
Yeah, yep, comes all the way back from Rome, and that's where we get into the whole issue that I've discussed before on this program. You know, the reason why I call people the living beneficiaries, and I say that Romans 8 is kind of irrelevant in some ways, because the reason why that is so is because when Jesus paid the price, he bridged that gap, and really there's no need for a king. He took that gap. You know, we got kicked out of the garden. Remember the story? We get kicked out of the garden, right? And then later on we pick up a king, and then Jesus dies on the cross, and he pays the debt that we owe for the transaction that happened in the garden, and we're back in good standing. Well, according to our faith. So here we are in a time now we're living where really we need no king. However, there's this guy that's trespassing, pretending to be a king, that's standing on our land telling us that we're nothing, we're serfs, we're slaves. And it's actually not the truth. It's totally fictional. It's totally upside down from what it actually is. Now, do I advocate people picketing their capitals and telling them, serfs no more, serfs no more? No, I don't. Why? Because they have some understanding, but they don't get all of that stuff. But should we hold them to the fire and make them do what they're supposed to do? Absolutely.
Yes, right. This is new subjects to me, and I want to learn this. So I hope you don't mind me asking questions.
No, I don't mind you asking questions, and
No.
I should tell people that if they want to call in at 619-639-4605. Go ahead, Stephen.
Okay, yeah. Maybe you can explain or give me some of your thoughts on what the original meaning of democracy was supposed to have been. Wasn't it supposed to have been like 2/3 of a majority to pass something instead of just 51%?
Well, our founding fathers wrote a lot about democracies, and I think it was Thomas Jefferson that said that democracies have always been turbulent, and they've always been violent in their deaths, because essentially, whenever a country is functioning as a democracy, the people do eventually grow tired of it. They eventually catch on to the fact that they're powerless, that the only people with power are those who are in power, who make the rules for the rest, and they eventually catch on, and then there's eventually some kind of a big ruckus, and then it dies. They form a new government and move on from there. So democracies, to answer your question, democracy in essence is majority rules. So if 51% is what you would call a majority, I would say that probably suffices in a democracy.
Yes. Well, I guess my question was a little bit off there. It should have been the original meaning of the word of republic. But still, the fact is, the solution is we need to take our power back, and that's going to come through education.
Right.
The indoctrination system of the world, of the power structure, has been the entertainment system, the entertainment industry. The facts are that people very, very few people read anymore. Very, very few people think about things that are supposed to be important. Very, very few people are willing to compromise what they have, or think they might compromise what they have and do something to rectify these situations that we're in.
Yeah, you're right. People really are asleep at the wheel. They don't understand the severity of what's happening. Because they're asleep, the government that's there, that's pretending, they're accepting your sleep as consent. And until we wake up and are able to face them, not in a violent way, I advocate a peaceful way. We look them in the face and we say, look, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for me. I am the governed, and you don't have my consent. And until we, the people, can rise up in numbers, because one person at a time ain't going to get it done. We got a lot of people waking up in pockets across the country, but what happens is they get squished. They get squished and thrown out like yesterday's grapes. We don't want little pockets of people. We need the America to wake up and understand what has happened, and we need America to wake up and say we no longer consent. We want original intent. We want what we were supposed to have to begin with, and then work together in making it happen.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. But we have to get people to get around their apathy or their complacency, and we have to get them around the ignorance and teach them new ways of thinking, teach them new ways of reacting to tin horn, jackbooted thugs, if you want to call them that. I mean, that's basically what they are, is a little tin badge on their chest, and they got jack boots and billy clubs and mace and sidearm weapons. So that makes them their own little personal king in their mind, or queen, if you want to or if you want to think of it that way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I would personally call it a pirate.
Sure.
Because generally they're not using that gun or that billy club to promote peace. A king or a queen, most often, except for some tyrannical experiences through the years, for the most part, are deliberate as far as how they handle justice in their sight. But these thugs you're talking about, first of all, they need to wake up. They need to wake up and see that they're part of a play, and it's a really bad play. They need to wake up and see that they are part of something that they don't need to be part of, and they need to lay down their sword, if you will, and get on the side of the people, because there's no place. I shouldn't say it that way. The better place to be is on this side of the rope and not in it. You know what I mean?
Well, sure. I mean, the people, we've kept our cool for a long, long time, but I can say with assuredly that they are looking for a fight, and it's, I hate to say it, but you might come down to it someday, and it's not going to be pretty.
There's a lot of people that are saying that. I agree. There are a lot of people that are saying that. I like to see the glass half full, and I hope that we don't do it that way.
Yes, yes. Well, cowardice cowardice seems to strike out, and strength and power seems to be the reserved party. We have the strength, and we know it, and we are the reserved ones. The people that are in power are the ones that are, I believe, frightened, and they are the ones striking out, because there's absolutely no reason for them to be doing the things that they're doing unless they are totally afraid.
Right. And that's very possible because, like we mentioned before, there's a lot of pockets of people waking up across this country, and it could be that they're very afraid because not all of those pockets of people are peaceful. Some of those movements across this country are militia movements and stuff, and those militia movements, while most of them are good people and are patient people, there are a few out there that probably be the first one to press the trigger.
Yeah, and I would almost suspect that those are government run anyways. These
sure.
Normally, the conspiracy goes, normally when somebody starts talking about killing someone else, they're usually federally backed and federally run.
Right.
Being run by the FBI, or I don't know how much you want to get into or not, but
well, we can get pretty deep into that that stuff that a lot of people label as conspiracy. So we might want to just stay with the facts, I guess. And that's why.
Well, yeah. Well, I can give you facts too. Timothy McVeigh was he still worked for the Army. He had supposedly been out of the Army for quite a number of years, but on his supposed death certificate said he still worked for the Army. He had CIA ties. Those are known facts too. I mean, all of these idiot Muslims that have been caught here in the last few years, they've all had FBI ties or CIA ties. They
right,
were run by feds.
Like Osama, right?
Sure, Osama himself.
Yeah.
He was a CIA asset from 1979.
Yeah.
The big new Brzezinski recruited him for the Mujahideen over in Afghanistan. And then from the Mujahideen, he split off and allegedly created Al-Qaeda, but it was a CIA creation all along.
Right.
And the other one, Mutalib, I can't remember his name now, but he was the 21-year-old kid from East Africa, I believe, the one that was called the Christmas Day bomber. The
underwear bomber.
Yeah, the underwear, the Christmas underwear bomber.
Yeah.
He was led on by a U.S. State Department person, unknown person to this day still. He was led on that plane. He wasn't led on that plane. He was put on that plane by the U.S. State Department. That's an open fact. That's an admitted open fact.
Yeah, the U.S. State Department, they got a lot of stuff in the skeleton closet there.
Yeah, and Hillary just happened to step down just in time, so she probably going to be immune from prosecution. Of course, the criminals always keep themselves away from prosecution. From somebody else will forgive them their sins, and I'm sure she won't have anything done with her unless something is done to the whole system.
Right. Right. Well, we're at the 5-minute mark as far as how much time is left in the program. I'm going to do a quick little, we'll just call it paying the bills real quick here, and we'll be right back. Do you remember the series of the 70s and 80s? You know, the Dukes of Hazzard, I Dream of Jeannie, Mork and Mindy, Hogan's Heroes, the list goes on and on and on. Of course you do. Why? Because they were family-friendly shows. What's the one place you can go on the internet to find them? www.retroshowsarbetter.com. Go by my Ace store and get yourself some popcorn and a movie and meet me there. Oh, that was really fun to produce. I'll tell you that right now.
That was a nice little clip there.
Well, I appreciate it. Took a little bit of time. I messed up. I should have done an outtake on that, but it would have taken up a whole hour show. Yeah. So with our last, well, it comes down to about just under 4 minutes now. I thought I would quickly mention, we were talking about the Organic Act of 1871. I wanted to let you people know where it is that you can find information about the corporation itself, the one that exists on Dun and Bradstreet and Manta.com. You can actually go, and if I could turn my pages fast enough here, I got so many pages I meant to go over, and I summarized it too quickly. Let's see here. One more page. Yeah, here it is right here. Like, if you go into the codified law, you look at U.S. Code Title 28, Section 3002, and you look under the definitions. The United States is defined as A federal corporation, B, an agency, department, commission, board, or other entity of the United States, and C, an instrumentality of the United States. So there it is, right there in their own codified law. They call themselves a federal corporation. All capital letters, United States Corporation. So look it up, Dun and Bradstreet, Manta.com. They're there.
Yes, absolutely. Hence, they have the SEC numbers to prove it.
Yes, they do. I just wanted to lay that out there, let people know so that they can go and check it out for themselves. I never want them to go by what I say. I prefer you to go check it out for yourself, because there's just too many people saying too many things, and it's better if you can do the due diligence yourself and study it out. And if you guys get a chance today, you should check out my latest blog, which is on freedomforall.therockofsalem.ws. If you go there, you'll see the latest blog that I wrote today, which covers a lot of this subject that we talked about on the show. Stephen, you have been a wonderful guest. I appreciate the fact that you came on tonight and had some discussion with me. Would you like to have this final minute to tell people again where they can find you, and maybe maybe they want to contact you to be on their show?
Sure. I could be contacted just off of. I have 2 Facebook pages. Anyone can look up facebook.com/cancelthecabal, and they can reach me that way, or Stephen Roberts, STEPHEN Roberts, ROBERTS, and the other one is Cancel the Cabal. They can also reach me at cancelthecabal.com. That's my blog page. They can reach me. Well, there's quite a few, but I will be on MS Media Streaming International. They will be able to reach me there also. Media Streaming International Radio, MSI Radio. So I'll let you go ahead and close it out then, Rick.
Okay, well, I appreciate you coming on here, Stephen. It has been a blast, and I just want to say to our listeners, if you've enjoyed the show, check us out on blogspotradio.com/South Dakota DP, and join me again on Monday when I'll be with herbalist Amy Willis. Thank you. God bless. Good night.